10 years ago, we stood right here and welcomed you inside our senior year. We were young and excited, but we had no idea if we were actually being given the tools to prepare us for the world. So we got out our phones, we hit record, and we posed that exact question to students and educators alike. We were naive and ready, but we had no idea what was coming. A lot has happened since then, and we wanted to catch up with some of the people in that video to talk about it. Growing up alongside these events seemed insurmountable and at times defeating, but that's not what this is about. This is about how these people came out of those events and the experience they took from it. So, let's look back at the last 10 years.
At least 20 people have been injured after this shooting in Parkland, Florida, at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School.
Marches against gun violence will be taking place in hundreds of cities this afternoon.
Following the massacre in Uvalde, Texas.
I'm here at the center of the Women's March in a sea of signs.
The Me Too campaign encourages victims who have kept their secret struggles silent to speak out.
Today around the world, people are marching. It's a global protest against climate change.
Central China, a man has died following an outbreak of an unknown pneumonia-like virus, which officials say comes from the same family as the deadly SARS virus.
We have therefore made the assessment that COVID-19 can be characterized as a pandemic.
Beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, February the 2nd, the United States government will implement temporary measures to increase our abilities to detect and contain the coronavirus.
25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery was shot and killed on a Georgia street.
Loved ones of Breonna Taylor grieving and outraged. The 26-year-old Louisville first responder shot 8 times and killed by police.
Good evening, everyone. We're coming on the air with the latest on the wave of protests and unrest taking place at this hour across the country. Outrage at the death of George Floyd, an African-American man, while in police custody in Minneapolis nearly a week ago.
It is hard to put into words what exactly we witnessed today because we've not seen this before. Thousands storming the Capitol after a rally with President Trump, during which he urged them to march on the Capitol.
Sudan's civil war has entered a new horrific phase. The paramilitary Rapid Support Forces have gone on a killing rampage.
It's currently the worst humanitarian crisis in the world. Millions of people displaced, tens of thousands killed. But with so much focus on Ukraine, Gaza, and Iran, many don't know the horrors playing out inside of Sudan.
Artificial intelligence influencers are a growing industry, with some AI models gaining hundreds of thousands of followers and getting increasingly lucrative sponsorship deals.
Record highs both this year and next, straining the nation's aging power grid and creating more planet-warming emissions. A big part of the demand is from a growing number of data centers across the nation. And listen to this, from the rise of artificial intelligence.
Now to the ongoing immigration operations in Minneapolis and protests across the country after the fatal shooting of a young mother by an immigration agent in that city. People in Minneapolis are honoring the memory of 37-year-old Renee Good.
Our vigils in Minneapolis in the wake of the latest deadly shooting by ICE officers. On Saturday, federal agents shot and killed 37-year-old Alex Preddy. Preddy was a U.S. citizen and intensive care nurse at the Veterans Affairs Hospital.
What? News strikes across Tehran tonight as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran is expanding.
New inflation numbers are not good, tripling in just a month and driven by the biggest spike in gas prices in 6 decades.
So as soon as I graduated high school, I didn't see myself going to college because it was kind of hard for me to do like classwork. Not that I couldn't do it, but just paying attention was just not a thing. So I went straight into working. Then I moved across country to Las Vegas.
After graduation, I moved to Louisiana because I was destined to be a doctor. Got there. It was cool. The vibe was cool. It was an HBCU, but I hated the living situation. I also kind of hated being a little far away from home. So I called up, believe it or not, I don't really tell many people this story, but I called up a lot of schools that I applied to, and they said that they'd reinstate me. And I chose to go with Kentucky. So I went to University of Kentucky, and I started studying biology, and I couldn't pass chemistry to save my life. And I got involved with like a bunch of different student orgs or whatever, found like a mentor, got involved with like this agriculture, natural resources student organization. And they took me to a conference, and I changed my major when I got back to campus to agricultural economics and fell in love with it. And that's how I'm an agricultural economist. I moved to Nebraska after graduating college and worked for the USDA as an agricultural statistician for 3 years. While I did that, I decided to go back to school at University of Nebraska-Lincoln, got my master's in agricultural economics, did a thesis, researched all the hard stuff, and then decided that I wanted to do something different, and it wasn't going to be at the USDA. I'm glad I left. But now I work for a global agricultural company. It's called BASF. We basically create chemistry, but I work in the seeds and traits business.
I didn't go to college right out of high school. It took me, 2 to 3 years, I think it was. The reason why I took the path I took is because it's tailored to who I am, and my learning curves are based around what I want to learn, things that I want to improve in. It's not based off anything that anybody else feels I should do. I take people's advice. I learn from other people's problems and the mistakes that they make. But outside of that, everything that I do is because I want to do it, and it's when I want to do it.
Literally after graduating, I was on a high, excited for life. I kind of had a good idea of where I was going to go for college. But that didn't matter because my parents decided to get a divorce literally a couple of days after graduating high school. And that kind of derailed everything because that took up all their, money, time, everything. So that kind of was out the window for me. But I was very kind of prideful, stubborn, and I'm like, I'm not doing community college. So I took a gap year, and I taught my, buddy here to do the same. And we took a gap year and fully went for it with YouTube. And that's kind of where it all started, where I'm at today.
So literally 2 weeks after we graduated, I started college. I got into summer semester at FIU, and I knew that's the school I wanted to go to. So I had no summer. It was just immediately school. And I did my 4 years. Then I did my master's during COVID. I always knew I was going to do my master's. I just didn't know it was going to be through COVID.
Number of deaths here in the United States has just crossed 100,000. That is 100,000 men, women, children, mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, grandparents. 100,000 plus gone. As we remember all those who have been lost, there are so many tough questions Americans should still be asking about what could have been done.
More than 80 million Americans now told to stay at home.
It was wild. I think we got sent home in March of 2020, saying we would be back in a couple weeks, and then we never came back.
It was late 2019. I was in college. This was like the end of my first year. I remember just a series of events. It was cold outside, and then all within the next few months, you couldn't even go outside.
COVID was the biggest issue for me. I think that completely changed the trajectory of my life. I thought I'd be in a totally different place if it wasn't for COVID.
I always like to say Crohn's was put on me by God, not to hurt me, but to just remind me that I'm human, that I have limits, and to just appreciate life more. I didn't know that back then when I was younger, but I definitely know that now 10 years later. And I was reminded of this during the pandemic, actually, 4 years after graduating high school, I relapsed for the first time.
I had to
learn an online platform and also find a way to make it engaging for students.
Everything had changed. The whole paradigm changed. People started going a little bit more crazier. People started thinking that their lives would change with a stimulus check. And then on top of that, I think we lost the essence of what life used to be like.
From March 2020, we finished out the year. We did not have one-to-one technology for students in Columbus City schools. I don't think we had Wi-Fi until 2015, 2016 is maybe, or 2014, 15 is when we finally got Wi-Fi throughout the buildings at Fort Hays. So we were still using Chromebook carts. So I think the district scrambled over the summer of 2020 to purchase a bunch of Chromebooks to distribute to kids. So all the kids at home would have Chromebooks. They also bought Wi-Fi hotspots for kids. So there was a huge scramble to get learning tech into kids' hands so that we could instruct them from home, which is what we started doing in August, September of 2020.
Fall of 2020 was my first year back in the classroom after 10 years out of the classroom. So a lot had changed for me with learning or teaching students in general. In a way, though, it was sort of isolating. The students, just like what you would hear people say, they didn't want to show their faces. So I was looking at just like black squares on the screen. Students didn't want to really be seen. I don't know if that it was necessarily by me so much, but maybe by other students. You don't know what people's backgrounds are like or what they have going on at home. So, but it was, I don't know, hard really, I guess, to gauge how interested the students actually were. So it was very, very different.
I've read several articles now where they've tied what they call the learning gap or the learning decline. It wasn't really the pandemic, it was the one-to-one technology, like Chromebooks and kids' phones are happening at the same time. The boom of cell phones, every kid has a cell phone, every kid has like unlimited Wi-Fi, and then the one-to-one technology has really shifted learning for kids.
Engagement, I think, could also be just a part of like phones being a distraction or social media. Students were probably just using devices so much during that time that it's hard to wean them off of those things for the classroom.
I got myself into trouble a couple times because I saw my role as more of a not necessarily a distraction, but like, here's the things we can do together, and try to get kids out of the bad stuff and into more of a positive space, even if it was online, but then welcoming kids back to school and not worrying so much about curriculum and standards and pacing and all that stuff, but more worried about being together and learning together and because that human, as a professional educator with a PhD, we know that learning happens through social construction. So kids aren't going to learn by themselves at home on a computer screen. That's not the best way to do it. So it was just trying to rebuild the school community, really, the learning community, and trying to create a learning community online was difficult. But I focused more on that piece than on trying to teach specific history standards.
Students who were in middle school at that time, as I've seen them come through, I think they feel like they don't have to be present. Now, pretty much any teacher, I'm giving lessons in class, I'm teaching in class, but everything is posted on an online platform. So students will come to school when they feel like it, but if they're not feeling like coming to school, they feel like, hey, I can miss, I can make it up, I can get online.
see what was taught. So I feel like it has definitely affected attendance, and then also just engagement.
Kids during that time were really going through it. So they were losing family members, and family members were losing jobs, and it was really tough. So at the same time that they're dealing with these real issues, they're also trying to deal with school. So that traumatic time in kids' lives, yeah, we're still climbing out of that.
I had so much going on. I was not focused on my health. Like, that was the one thing I wasn't concerned about. But again, like, God had to use that thing to remind me, once again, you're human. You need to slow down. You need to appreciate your life. And I remember a lot of the things that happened to me when I was first diagnosed was happening again, but this time during the heat of COVID of 2020. So I was thinking, this was my time. It was my day. Like, that COVID got me, because it already hit people that I knew. But it turned out after going to the hospital that I had relapse and everything. And it was very scary. It actually took me a year to get back to good health after that. What I learned early on with Crohn's is it's triggered by stress. And I was at my maximum point of stress ever during the COVID pandemic.
COVID hit, and that was crazy. I actually remember where I was when the first case was confirmed in Kentucky. I used to work for athletics, and we had a basketball game. And I was literally in the middle of selling tickets, and I got a notification on my phone, and it was like, first confirmed case in Kentucky. And I was like, oh, and they were like, oh, we'll be fine. It's not going to spread, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, not even a week later, the world shut down.
COVID really took away 2 years of my life, I want to say. But like, I also don't like putting it like that, because I still did things. Like, I still celebrated milestones. I still got to graduate twice. It didn't completely rob my life, but there was just so much plans I had that did not happen because of COVID.
It didn't really affect my life in the way that I thought it would, because at the age of 20, I didn't know who I was. I mean, I was still figuring everything out, and I was trying to see who I was. I couldn't really get a grasp on what I wanted in life. I couldn't really understand what I wanted to be in my future. I just wish that I could say that the pandemic was more of an impact on it, but it really wasn't.
And prior to COVID, man, I had got a liking of Los Angeles and the culture of the city. And I had a friend that lived out there, and I finally took my chance to go in 2020. I remember I came back, I touched down, I got in my car, and I went home and unpacked and everything. But I came back downtown, and I had saw about George Floyd and all that stuff, but I didn't know, like, to the extent of what was going on here in the city. And I just remember being on High Street all throughout that time. Everything was boarded up. It was scary in the sense of you don't know what can happen, but it was like, this is like a time to be alive. I've never seen this before, but I really feel bad for the people that had to get, maced and shot at for standing up for somebody like that. I hated that to my core, really bad. I don't think fear ever comes up. I mean, yeah, at some point you think about, okay, I could lose my life doing something, but it's like, if it's for the cause, who cares? I mean, for me, when I saw that, when you think about history, you got people that leave cliff notes. I want to put my name somewhere because I lived through this too, and that was a crazy experience.
I got involved with a lot of things, like after the murder of George Floyd, that stirred like a lot of need to implement things in institutions, programs, places, people, things. And so I got heavily involved with institutional diversity on campus at Kentucky. And so I served on boards as a student advocate of making sure that programs or places and spaces actually incorporated what students were interested in and looking for to be inclusive, equitable, and make sure that students had access. There was a protest that I participated in. We had like a sit-in, and we got in a ton of trouble, and they called like security and the police and things like that.
I hope that it teaches them that it's always worth the fight. Somebody has to fight. I try to, even like with ICE, our students had a walkout. And this was across the district. So they're asking me, well, is it okay if I leave class? Like, what do you think I should do? I'm like, heck yes, leave class. Like, you have to stand up. You have to make your voice heard in order for change to happen. And I try to impress upon my students that there was bloodshed for rights that we have. So if you don't stand up, like, somebody has to continue the fight. So I try to let them know like how important that is.
I remember what it was like when there were ICE raids in Kentucky, because there was a small community. I used to volunteer at an elementary school for like a after school girls club or whatever. And it was in a Hispanic community. And when ICE was first raiding his first term, that community went silent. Like, no grocery stores were open, no restaurants, like none of the families were out. The people that I usually see, there was no one. And like, there were a couple people that I knew who knew people who had got picked up and things like that. And it was just really sad then. And then when it happened again this term, it reminded me of how close to home it was again. I'm still involved with that student org that I got involved with on campus that made me change my major. I'm still involved with them heavily. Like, I still serve on their board. And we just had our national conference like 2 weeks ago, and to the point where we're divided in regions, and our region 6 is heavily Hispanic populated. And they've been going through a lot, and they've been looking for resources. And so making sure that we're advocating on their campuses, within our organization, putting out messaging, making sure that we're doing internal work. My hope is actually to put together a program that making sure that they have the resources that they actually need, whether that's through legal aid, language services, just whatever we could possibly think of. And so I'm involved that way, but also it made me reflect on like, what I've been through, and also how hard it is being a Black woman in America. It's like, we're also being targeted too. And it might not be with ICE. I don't know. It's a crazy time that we live in. It's a mess.
It's made me more aware. I mean, as a teenager, I wasn't really into politics. Like at all, I wasn't paying attention to it. I remember freshman year of college, there was like a stillness on campus. It was very, very gloomy vibes that day. And I think that was the day I realized how serious these things are. I've become more globally aware. I'm able to nuance more because of all of these huge issues that just happened the past 10 years.
That's the goal, is to get kids to be active. Like, and I wrote an article one time. It was me and another social studies teacher from another part of Ohio, and like, what does it mean to be an active citizen? Is it watching the news and reading the newspapers and paying attention to elections and going and voting? Or is active citizenship like identifying the problems, working to fix those problems, and then going out and marching in the streets when people aren't listening? So I think active citizenship is more of that. Like, what's a problem in my community? What can I do to help address that problem? And then what do we do if folks in power, in charge, aren't listening? So then we give them lots of examples. We have mentor texts. We have like John Lewis. If we study John Lewis and his life and what he did, if we look at current people like the ladies that started the Black Lives Matter movement, then we can see like, what did these people do? I mean, even we look at Barack Obama, he started out as a community organizer. So just examples, opportunities, putting them with people who do that work.
that never takes a back seat. Now, I'm not in the front line all the time, but I give my opinions on stuff like that, and I vote for who needs to be voted for and make sure things go smooth. There's certain things I don't comment on, but I keep a mental note of that happen in this country all the time. And yeah, I'm always keeping an eye on stuff. You know, sometimes one person can do it. Sometimes the whole collective can make a change. Sometimes both need to come together and do something.
I was raised off of right is right and wrong is wrong. I was raised that you treat people the way that you're supposed to be treated. I was raised that people should always be treated with equality and equity. Not just equality, but equity. And that people are people. You know, people have their own opinions. You don't judge them off their opinions. You don't treat them like crap off their opinions. They're people too. Maybe they're ignorant to what they see, or maybe they're just naive, or maybe they're in denial. I wish my world was a better place. And I want to make it a better place. But right now, I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
I just remember, like, gosh, I'm going to have to wrap my head around not coming to my classroom the first week of August, because as a classroom teacher, that's typically what I do is come in and set my classroom up. I like to have an environment for students. Say the goal behind the strike is just that what we want is like a well-funded school so that students can get a complete education, right? So there are so many wraparound services that students need, and teachers need to be compensated. So that was a big part of it too, is our compensation and just funding for things that our students need. Public education has been attacked for a long time. There's like corporations that come downtown, they have these tax abatements. So we're constantly like losing funding for just what our kids need. And education is funded based on property taxes. So listen, some of it is out of the district's control, but our students need a lot. And it doesn't just start in the classroom.
If you live in a neighborhood that has high valued homes with high property taxes, more money goes to the school. So that means those schools get more money for trips and books and people. So people make a big difference. But a lot of the property that is taxed in the district is like corporate, which get tax breaks. So the city of Columbus gives big corporations, especially downtown, tax breaks, which means there's less tax money to the district. Ohio also has a crazy rule where they capped the amount of money per student. So Columbus City Schools being the biggest district in the state, when you cap the amount of money you can get, that also means less money per student, less money for people, less money for books and trips, those things. There's some state funding, but they've cut that in Ohio. So now our current budget crisis in Columbus City Schools is because of a state funding cut. We also rely on Title I money from the federal government, which now has extra strings attached.
So I'm somebody that's always down for the fight. And for me, I feel like we ended the strike too soon. I know there's a lot more that goes on, maybe that I'm not privy to or fully understand. But when the strike was declared over, the teachers, we did not know, the union members didn't know the full terms of what was agreed upon. So for me, I know I was in a minority, but I did not vote to accept it. And I think that had they come to us and said, hey, this is what's on the table, I think there would have been a lot more teachers that said, no, this isn't good enough.
The kids were really supportive. Like we had kids that came down and hung out with us, and the kids like understood because they're in the same places. So, but that's as a social studies teacher, we're always teaching kids about citizen action. So, like citizen action is those it's like 3 levels. There's like political action, like working within the rules. If that doesn't work, then there's social protest, which is kind of breaking rules to bring attention to things. And then the last step, if nothing works, is the revolution piece. So, but I mean, we teach that all the time, and having kids that then understand that if they want to change things, that they can go out and do things like in the real world. Like doing things online is good, but doing things out in the real world is better. And having kids understand that, and then have the like knowledge, tools, and just wherewithal to be able to do that.
There definitely were families and students that showed their support. So whether it was just bringing some water, coming by to hold up signs. So I hope they got the message, and that it wasn't just, here's some time off of school. As an enhancement, I like tools, technology, all of those things help us. So I do think that there could be a more responsible way to implement and utilize it. But I feel like kids just want to get the answer. So I don't like it for that reason.
I use ChatGPT to help grade my scripts and help me see what I need to tweak on my scripts. I feel like when you do AI, because you have to be very specific when it comes to doing things like that, I think it helps people who don't know where to start, and that's a way of them trying to get their start in doing something.
I use it a lot at work, and so with it being a thought partner, I focus a lot on market research right now and doing a lot of different things with like competitive landscaping and knowing what's going on in the industry and creating like AI assistant factories that link our servers, but also the web as well. And so I'm doing like a lot of things with building AI agents and making our teams work more efficiently and stuff like that. So I'm a huge advocate for AI right now, especially because I think it's a game changer, especially if you know how to use it. I just feel like people need to educate themselves more, collaborate with people so that they can use AI to the best of their ability, or use opportunities with AI that fit their needs, because not everybody needs it for the same thing, you know?
It's been difficult to like verify and prove, but I've been teaching kids for 24 years. So if I read something from a freshman in high school, I can figure out if they wrote it or not. So if I suspect, then I go and I look. Some of it has been teachable moments, like this is AI, you can't like use AI generated text and present it as your work because it's not.
It feels impossible to keep the phones away from students. So in my class, like students might feel like, oh, I don't need chemistry. Like, why? I just want to get a grade. I try to impress upon them like, hey, this is about critical thinking and exercising your brain. And yes, you can use AI or Google something, but can you hold a conversation? Can you collaborate with people? Do you have original thought? Like, these are things that employers are going to want. I can Google myself, but can you come to me? Can you add something to the conversation, or, like solutions or something innovative?
It's horrible. I honestly think it's horrible. I think it's good in certain spaces. AI is incredible in certain spaces, but the creative side of things, it should have never been allowed to touch that arena. Like, never. You look back from like now, like to centuries ago, it's art that has stood the test of time. Created by humans, created by love, created by hate, created by just documenting what's going on during that time period. That should not be replicated or touched by artificial intelligence. That's insane to me. It's disgusting. And it's discouraging because art really is our voice as human beings. And it's something that will last when my name isn't even talked about in rooms 100 years from now.
We've been moving back to paper and pencil, back to books instead of screens, and that's better. Like, there's lots of data to support that kids learn better through paper, pencil. They test better with paper and pencil, but then we have these big tech companies that are trying to get into the education game. So there's been some pressure from administration in the district to use AI. One of the things that the district and people had talked to us about was like, well, you could have AI grade papers. You could have AI plan lessons. You could have AI be like your assistant but my fear is that then that's a productivity thing. So if you use AI, you can get more work done. You can do all of this, that. But I refuse, because when I grade kids' work, then I learn about them, right? If AI is grading the work, then I'm not learning things about kids. I plan all my lessons because then I can change, adapt, and make them better later. So, and that's the creative part. So like, teaching is like, it's a job, it's also an art. So the art is the lesson and what you're using and how you front load it and just how you teach the lesson. That's the art part. And I'm not going to give that up to robots either.
I feel like it's an attack on their ability to critically think, or their desire to critically think, and that makes me sad.
It scares me to think like where art is headed in the next 5 years, honestly. Like, will I still be able to do what I love? Actually, I'm still going to do what I love, but the real question is, will people care?
I gotta say, one of the biggest things has just been the insane inflation after COVID. Florida is already expensive, but then after COVID, when it's my turn to be an adult and my turn to get an apartment and my turn to get a car, suddenly it's more difficult than pre-COVID. And then I did what I was supposed to do and I got a master's, and they were like, you're gonna make good money. And it's not making good money. It's okay, but I could be making a lot more. And these days, even with getting a raise every year, I feel like I have less and less money every year because inflation has just been so bad.
I really do not try to do anything other than what serves the best purpose to me. So to put a mirror on the cars, the housing economy, is everything. Like the price of groceries, gas itself. You go to the movies now, and the movie tickets is like $20 a person. As a grown man, was a hell of a lot cheaper then than what it is now.
I can say I definitely feel the weight more because I'm the one having to pay these medical bills. 10 years ago, I was still, a minor about to become an adult. Where my mom and my parents were the ones worrying about the medical bills and expenses and making sure I, show up to the appointments and all that. And also making sure that, the health providers, like the nurses and everything, actually are doing their job and care about me. But now as an adult, 10 years later, I have to worry about all those things, making sure like I make those appointments, make sure, I have my appointments covered, and also making sure that I'm being serviced by the right people. Like those are the things that you take on as an adult.
The world is here now. Just go out and try something different. Challenge yourself. Never try to say that I went through the hardest things in life, but that kid in that first documentary, I was reactive, but I still had a sense of who I was. And we all got to take our chances. I mean, you got to be careful, but if you're doing it by yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. And that's what I've learned. Like, you cannot sit here and allow things to just fly by you and just breeze by.
In the last 10 years, I've learned a lot, and that has changed the way that I think. I have a completely different perspective than the girl in 2015, 2016, who went to Fort Hays and grew up on Cleveland Avenue. I was the only Black person in my classroom, okay? Only Black person in my classroom. Only Black female in my program. So I had to remind myself that no matter what, I can see myself through adversity. One, because I came from CCS. Two, because of how I wanted to have an appreciation for the world and challenging myself to have a different perspective. So the way that I think, the way that I engage and interact with people to this day has changed just from being at Fort Hayes to integrating to a HBCU momentarily to a PWI.
Not married yet, no kids. When I was 18, I thought that's what I'd be doing at 28. And I'm not, and you know what? That's fine. I'm actually very glad. My 20s have actually felt like my teenage years just upgraded.
I've seen a bunch of people get married, go to college. Both my best friends went to college during the pandemic, while it was happening. So I don't feel robbed, but at the same time, our destinies are never written. We all walk our own path in life. My path wasn't with college. My path right now is is not with, I'm not married, I don't have kids, but everybody has to walk their own path, and everybody will get there at some point.
I do feel like from 10 years ago to now, not pursuing college is more acceptable. Like, sometimes I have students that say something like, I want to be an influencer. Well, that's a viable job. I do think that letting students know that it's great to pursue things that don't require a 4-year degree, because school is expensive. And sometimes maybe the school that you choose to go to doesn't, it may be more expensive than what your earning potential is for that career. So I think we have to take the barriers off or old ideas off that, college is the way. So just encouraging them to get out and explore and have different experiences.
To better prepare the next generation, you got to be more current while using the wisdom you had from back then. So history doesn't repeat itself and things get better. I think that's the main thing, to stay current and constantly encourage critical thinking. With the internet being so prominent right now, don't believe everything you see. Just because one person on the internet said they feel this way about an issue doesn't mean you have to feel that way either. Even if they shame you and bully you, you're your own person. You can have your own thoughts and feelings. Because I feel like a lot of young people these days, they conform a lot. They want to appear a certain way online, and because of that, they lose who they really are. The older generation and these institutions should be helping this new generation, be themselves.
The art and beauty of life isn't in copying what everyone else is doing and what's popular. It's actually being fully honest and vulnerable with yourself and being able to present that through your true art form, whether that be music, film, whatever it is.
For this next generation, I want you guys to stop worrying about what other people say. We all have our cracks, but it makes us who we are. I know with my cracks and my flaws, it's the man I am today. I'm learning from all of it. And you know what? Another thing is too, don't let society tell you who you can and cannot be. You're allowed to be whoever the hell you want to be. Do you, fuck what people say, and keep going.
We all have something to contribute to the world. So I feel like it takes each one of us has a role to play to make the world go round. So find out who you are authentically. You don't have to go with the crowd. Get out there and experience things, because the more you have a chance to see how something works or what things entail, then you'll have a better idea of where your passion lies. My job is it doesn't feel like work at all. I love what I do, and I feel like it's a blessing to be able to say that I love my job. But a lot of people go to work every day because they have to, and they don't enjoy it. So I think you just have to get out here figure out who you are, and try to line what you want to do with some opportunity to make a living for yourself.
I just want everybody's life to be easier. Easier access to school, easier access to healthcare. I just want to keep living my life as authentically as I can. I just want to keep having fun in my own way. Keep on doing my job, advance my career, make more money.
This is going to sound corny, but I think just being curious, finding the things that you care about, and then focus on that. Like if you can find a career wherein the thing that you're working on or towards or about is something that you care about and that you're passionate about, regardless of the money that comes with it, then that's what you do. And if you're a curious person, if you're like, I wonder why this is the way it is, and let me find out about that, then that's going to serve you well too. That's why I try to get my kids to do all the time. I'm like, if you're curious, that's going to help you.
With maturity, like 10 years later, I will add that kids do have to be open to listening to wisdom from someone that's been where they want to go. And that's the key there. Because you just shouldn't be taking wisdom from any person. And I think when we're younger, we think that that's the wise thing to do. Just because someone's older than you, you take heed to what they say. But the key is take guidance from someone that is where you want to be.
I hope that I'm leaving them better than how they came to me. So one thing I just feel like, showing up, being a person of integrity, I feel like that helps the students. So whatever I say I'm gonna do, I do it. I show up and I want to give them the best that I can. So even though I've been teaching chemistry for 6 years, like every school year, there's something new that I'm gonna try to incorporate. But I just try to impress upon the kids, like, honesty is important. You gotta be a productive citizen. So for me, that means taking care of yourself. That means voting. And it's goes beyond, it's not just the academics, right? So I try to be kind. I speak to the students. I greet them by name at the door every day. Just those things. It's not about the academics. It's about the kind of person you are, the kind of heart that you have.
Senior year is a time for young adults to enter into the real world and learn about real world problems, and also to exit out of childhood, because for the first time in their lives, they have to learn how to be an adult. We want to get the growth of each student, not only as individuals, but as a class and as a personal state of mind. So, this is our senior year.
Wow, my voice. Wow.
We're growing up. I think I am going to go to Wright State or Ohio Dominican. I don't know yet.
Getting in high school, tell us how that is.
It's very hard.
Go ahead.
Because of friendship and like when it's a friendship and a relationship, like I feel that works best.
Well, okay. Not recently, a year ago, you found out you had Crohn's disease, right? How do you think that has affected your life, whether it be positive or negative?
It's affected my life in a good way, but also bad, of course. Bad way is that I have to take pills every day. Then I have to go every few months to the hospital to get injections, but the good way is I appreciate life because of it, and like being grateful that what I have, like I can work towards it, like being gone or whatever. Something I want to tell our parents is that growing up, you tell us that one day we're going to have to grow up. So you have to remember that when senior year comes. Like, let your kid find what's best for them. Hi, I'm Terrell Udra, and I'm the editor of Inside Senior Year 2016. And I I will be going to Ohio Dominican University this fall. And the reason I wanted to do this movie is so that like I can look back and see all the fun I had this past year, senior year. This fall, I will be majoring in art education with a minor in psychology.
Wow. I do agree that parents do have to let kids find what's best for them. They should let their kids kind of really discover like who they are, what they want to do, and kind of like let up a little bit. Like, don't live vicariously through your children. You know, I know like you have this perfect idea of like what you want your child to do, but at the end of the day, when you're dead and gone, hopefully they're still here and hopefully they are happy. And that guarantees it if they're doing what they love.
Like, be yourself. Like, stop watching other people. Stop trying to do what other people are doing. Like, even our parents pressure us into it. But again, they're just doing their best because they know what they know. So that's my best advice.
There has to be some grace, but at some point, we got to be adults at some point. That's how I maintain. I got to be realistic. I can't change everything. But I do want to preface something first, but protecting your mental health is one thing, but you should always challenge yourself. Being social, like, it's cool to be in the house, going over where you went wrong in certain relationships, but you need to get back out and be around people.
I actually think it is on us to go back to the old way of building community. I think there's true power in community. I believe like there's a reason why, centuries ago, humanity thrived by us all working together in community for one common goal. Back then it was very simple. It was just to survive, to make it to another day. But now we have the luxury to help each other achieve more than that, like not only survive, but also fulfill dreams. And kind of is like my why when it comes to my production company, 101 Avenue. The slogan is create together. And what that is about is, us all coming together under one common goal. And that is to bring our art, our vision to life together. So it's beautiful to see how like us using the old way of doing things has changed lives. Like, we've worked with people that never would have thought of doing film or music, anything like that. Like, we brought them on and it's changed their lives radically.
Did you go to formal? Yeah, I went to formal. It was my birthday. It's pre-turn up. Have you been to formal each year by school? I have, unfortunately.
My hair is a mess.
It's just, I don't know. I guess as you get older, you just start to not want to do things much. Is it going to be class president? The process is you as of right now, there's any such thing as class president. This year has been absolutely horrible. Yeah. I don't really have a comment on that. As far as the years when my 4 years, my first 3 years of being here was like the best of my life. But as for senior year, it's the worst. Like, I don't want to be a senior. And I'm a freshman in college.
So as class president and a member of cabinet, what advice do y'all have for people who want those positions in high school?
Don't take it. Don't take it. Pass it around the word. I'm a slave.
What colleges are y'all going to this fall?
University of Louisiana. It's been about a year, bro.
Majors?
Veterinary medicine, biological sciences. And what are you guys doing this first year of high school? Herb. And if you could give advice to incoming seniors during incoming freshman, what's one thing you would say? Not everybody is your friend. When you take your picture at the beginning, you're talking about my best friends. I care about one friend. Literally, one friend.
I think I was very confrontational with any and everyone. And now I only do it if it's necessary. I think in the sense of advocacy, or in the spirit of advocacy. Don't be so confrontational. Not everyone is out to get you. And then also, there's no growth in comfort. So say yes, because what do you have to lose?